All right, here we go. BCA 101, day 19, Wednesday. And that would be March 1st. In Like a Lamb, Out Like a Lion, I don't even remember. Be short today. We talked about graphics, and we said, making charts in a spreadsheet. I gave this example how during World War II, here's like a timeline. Winston Churchill was sending planes into Europe, and they were losing planes. And then at some point, the military said, "Well, you got this isn't going to keep working. We're losing a lot of planes." And he said, no, we have to keep fighting the Germans. I'm being very generic here. Until they showed him a chart. And they said, well, at this date, we will have no more planes. At the rate it's going now. They immediately stopped sending planes into Europe to fight Germany. Just an example. We looked at this where I said, you can have a pie chart if you're just, comparing things to a whole. You could have probably a whole course. I'm talking about data and analytics and so forth. All we're doing in this class is making sure people understand you can create a chart to represent your data and make it much easier for people to view that. When we deal with images, nowadays with our cameras, there's a lot of ways to get an image. Two things. The images we typically scan are bitmapped or raster. They're made up of bits or dots, you might think of too. So we use a bit pattern, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0 maybe. It's a little more complex than that, but that represents what that dot looks like. And we put a whole bunch of dots together and we get a picture. It's called raster. There's a way to draw pictures much more accurately by creating an arc between dots and creating an arc, and they're called vector. Adobe Illustrator does this really well. Adobe Photoshop does this really well. This is good for things like logos because vector graphics can be resized and not lose their quality. Whereas if you resize bitmap, it doesn't look as good. We briefly talked about how we can share digital information, and that is really widespread. But we didn't take much time in class. I think most students, most people nowadays do have an idea. There's some pretty cool places out there like Shutterfly that you can send your digital image to and they'll send you back a picture. Or you can go to Walmart and so forth to do similar things. So to finish up today, we have been working on spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are extremely popular for doing analysis with data. So if you're going to do analysis, you have to be able to reference cells. So you have to be able to use absolute and relative addressing. Okay? Sorry, I got waylaid there for a second. So, in spreadsheets then, this is really important, and then using formulas and having them have as few constants as possible. You do that by referencing other cells and using this kind of address to copy the information whichever way you're copying it. Last thing I'll mention, rounding values is really important in order that your spreadsheet gives an accurate view of the data, because this can be a problem when you format. Emphasize that. All right, done for today.